This is the new MG HS and the 5th generation Toyota RAV4, which will soon be replaced by the 6th gen model. Both of these crossovers are PHEVs or plug-in hybrids. Is the Chinese model worth looking at, or maybe it's safer to stick to the tried and tested Japanese brand? Let's find out. You can find reviews of both of these cars on my channel, links in the video description. If you're here for the first time, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications about new reviews and comparisons. Channel members get to watch new episodes weeks and sometimes even months before everybody else, and there are no ads on those videos. In this video, we'll compare the exterior design, boot space, rear space, cockpits, powertrain, as well as ride and handling. So let's get started. Looks can be deceiving. The angular RAV4 looks massive, but it is in fact slightly smaller than the sleek HS. The MG HS, measuring 467 cm in length, is a full 7 cm longer than the Toyota crossover. The Chinese car is 189 cm wide, that's 3.5 cm wider than the Japanese model. It also has a 7.5 cm longer wheelbase, but is 2 cm lower. Design? The HS has something of a Mazda in the front and Lexus in the back. However, in my opinion, it looks too long from the side considering its height. The RAV4 has better proportions in my opinion, even if it doesn't help the aerodynamics. Which of these cars do you like better? Let me know in the comment section below the video. The boot in the HS can be opened with gesture. It can. The shape is pretty much regular. There is a small storage compartment under the boot floor, and that's about it. The boot volume is 507 liters in 5-seat configuration and 1484 liters with the backrests in the second row folded. The dimensions are 102 centimeters wide, 42 centimeters high to the cargo cover, 52 centimeters to the window line, and 69 centimeters to the top of the boot opening. The depth by the floor is 90 centimeters to the backrests and 2 meters with the rear seat folded and the passenger seat moved all the way forward. And note, although the boot can be opened with gesture, it can only be closed with a button on the lid or on the remote control. The RAV4 boot can also be opened with gesture, but also closed with gesture. There isn't much happening inside either, but there is a 220 volt power outlet, 150 watts, and the storage under the floor is bigger than that in the MG HS. The boot volume is 520 liters in 5-seat configuration and 1168 liters with the backrest in the second row folded. The dimensions are 100 centimeters wide, 40 centimeters high to the cargo cover, 47 centimeters to the window line, and 77 centimeters to the top of the boot opening. The depth by the floor is 100 centimeters to the backrest, and after folding the backrests, there are 2 meters to the passenger seat moved all the way forward. In the rear seat of the MG HS, I have 20 centimeters legroom, but only about 10 centimeters headroom. I'm 175 centimeters tall and the driver's seat is set to my driving position. If I wanted a limousine experience, the front passenger seat slides forward like a mile, but then nobody's really going to fit in the front. The width of the seat is 130 centimeters, and at elbow height there is 150 centimeters. A small, fortunately relatively flat tunnel runs through the middle. There are USB ports, air conditioning vents, door pockets, and an armrest with cup holders. However, there is no ski hatch. The backrest splits 40-60. In the rear of the RAV4, I have slightly less legroom, 17 centimeters, but more headroom, 15 centimeters, and that's before I recline the backrest further. Perhaps the passenger seat doesn't move as far forward as in the HS, but you can definitely move it further back. This means adults in the front, children in the back. This is not a limousine.
The width of the seat is 125 centimeters, and at elbow height there's 150 centimeters like in the EHS. A small tunnel also runs through the middle. There are USB-C ports, an air conditioning vent, door pockets, and an armrest with cup holders. There is also no ski hatch. The backrest also splits 40-60.
The HS cockpit looks modern. There are few physical buttons, but there are two displays which are joined in this wide panel running 2/3 of the width of the dashboard. The display in front of the driver is fairly legible. There are 3 themes to choose from, including one with a panoramic map that even features live traffic information. The central display, on the other hand, is a honey trap for customers who think if it looks modern, then it must be modern. Generally speaking, the infotainment system is not as bad as in the one in the Toyota, but in the MG I have to interact with it more than I'd like to, and yeah, not class leading.
For example, seat memory settings are saved and displayed on the screen, which requires starting the car. Air conditioning settings can be accessed only via the screen. The same with driver aids or charging settings. More on those in a moment. What do I like? There is good storage under the armrest, the glove box, and in the door pockets. What do I dislike? Android Auto is wired, but even then connection is quickly interrupted. Wireless charging is not powerful enough, and taller drinks in the cup holders will scratch the piano black trim.
From behind the wheel, the RAV4 is showing its age, but everything is so well organized that I wouldn't change the layout of the cockpit. Sure, the infotainment system is outdated. Android Auto requires using a cable, and instead of disabling ESA, you have to turn off traffic sign recognition altogether.
However, there are physical controls for most of the crucial functions. There is decent storage, large cup holders and door pockets molded to hold the bottle vertically so that your drink doesn't spill.
The MG HS drives okay. It is reasonably agile, reasonably quick and sufficiently quiet up to about 120 km/h. Above this speed it gets noticeably loud inside. The suspension is good on single bumps, but on worse roads you can feel that it is working hard. However, it is still better than, for example, in Korean cars from several years ago. The adaptive cruise control with lane keeping assist is okay, much better than what I remember from other Chinese models that I have tested so far. And unlike many other Chinese models available in Europe, the MG HS has already been assessed by Euro NCAP and received a 5-star safety rating. A word of advice: learn how to disable the attention monitor. It beeps relentlessly every time you take your eyes off the road, which drives me crazy because I would like to look around before, I don't know, changing lanes or maybe when I'm approaching an intersection.
And the visibility is terrible. The large wing mirrors are too close to the thick A-pillars, so at intersections you may not notice a pedestrian or even a vehicle driving on the main road. The MG HS can tow up to 1500 kilograms. The promised acceleration time from 0 to 100 km/h is 6.9 seconds. I achieved 6.8 in sports mode. When taking off quickly in a straight line, even on wet surface, the wheels do not spin, and the PHEV has 272 horsepower. Unfortunately, with the wheels turned even slightly, torque steer spoils all the fun as front wheels fight for traction. The MG HS is only available as a front-wheel drive car, regardless of the powertrain version. The MG HS PHEV has a promised range in electric mode of up to 100 km WLTP. I managed to beat this result by 10 km, and if not for the last dozen kilometers or so on the expressway, I would have probably got another 10 or 20 in EV mode out of it. The average power consumption is around 13 kWh per 100 km, and the traction battery has over 21 kWh capacity, so there is potential for a better result.
MG promises a total range for the HS PHEV of up to 1,000 kilometers, taking into account a fully charged traction battery and a full tank of fuel, the capacity of which is 55 liters. This means an average fuel consumption of around 6 liters per 100 kilometers, which, after depleting the main part of the traction battery, sounds like a realistic result.
It is worth mentioning here that although the HS PHEV has a 7 kilowatt onboard charger, it is single-phase, so not everyone may have this much power output at home. Of course, the onboard computer allows you to program lower charging power, but this setting resets after each restart of the vehicle, so you have to remember to change it or trip the circuit breaker.
The RAV4 has the same charging power, and also it has to be limited from the onboard computer. Fortunately, the car remembers the setting. The RAV4's traction battery has gross capacity of 18 kilowatt hours, which allows it to cover about 75 kilometers. This is what the manufacturer estimates, and this is how much I see in real life. In electric mode, the car is zippy enough around town. When you floor it in electric mode, the time from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour is about 9 seconds. In normal and sport modes, I achieved slightly below 6 seconds, which Toyota promises.
The RAV4 PHEV has a total of 306 horsepower and can also tow up to 1,500 kilograms. However, it is an all-wheel drive car. The front-wheel drive RAV4 is only available with a regular hybrid. The RAV4 is average to drive, but like the HS, you don't buy a car like this for racing. Good acceleration is a side effect of the hybrid powertrain, so it is used for marketing purposes, but that's it. The soundproofing is okay, visibility is okay, a 360 camera helps maneuvering. There is also a virtual rearview mirror, which is useful when you're driving loaded up to the roof or with tall passengers in the back.
Driver aids are adequate. You don't have to disable anything beside ESA, or rather the traffic sign recognition, because you can't disable ESA. Otherwise, everything else is fine.
Prices of the MG HS start at €27,990 for the basic non-hybrid model. This test car is a PHEV in top trim. With options, it costs €43,640. Prices of the Toyota RAV4 start at €40,990 for the basic front-wheel drive hybrid model. This test car is a GR Sport PHEV. With options, it costs €65,420.
It doesn't matter what I think about Toyota and MG, €22,000 more and 25 kilometers in EV mode less is hard to justify, even if you'd be buying this car for many years. For the long term, I'd consider the regular hybrid with all-wheel drive, and this obviously means I'd choose the RAV4. In any other scenario, the MG HS wins by technical knockout. And which one of these two cars would you pick, and why? Let me know in the comment section below.
If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video, as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.